I'm high alone here. Why does communication have to stop? Why the friendship end? Why once so close and now so distant? Do the answer to this question even matters? Should one let life devastation prevent the laying of new foundations? An excerpt from The Eden Piece and Poem by Eric Bruce Smith.
Welcome to P English Literature, a YouTube channel that conveys Amazon, Goodreads, blog, and video book reviews coupled with interviews with authors. It's a perfect channel for book lovers, authors, and writers generally. P English Literature, the exact channel for you and me.
Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and to the review of The Eden Piece and Poem by Eric Bruce Smith. This is another fantastic book of poem that I find absolutely philosophical. It is humanistic, it delves into the matter of the human condition, and it asks a lot of poems there, a lot of cogent, vital information that keep me mulling, that keep me thinking about it, and that keep me thinking about the lines and stanzas of it. I was so in love with the book. While I picked it up, I read up to page 47, and I was like, oh my god, this book is very philosophical. The amount of information contained in it is quite life-saving. It is full of great information. It is full of different sort of amazing information are quite very vast into the theme of love, into the theme of relationship, into the theme of marriages, into the theme of heartbrokenness, and several other subjects encapsulated in the book. Reading through this book had me mulling, had me pondering on the nature of the human person, and it had me thinking, just like I read in the excerpt section, why people who purpose that they love each other initially suddenly turn into enemies, and why people who once claimed that they love each other initially begin to turn to strangers, and communication begins to die, and people that are so close together begin to distance themselves. Proud to reading this book. I've always loved to ask this question because I love asking a lot of questions, and just like a lot of question was asked in this book, The Eden Piece and Poem, the quality of the questions being asked here had me resonating on the sort of question that I've asked myself before now, because the book was written in a way that it is very humanistic, it is very relatable, and while I read to some of the poems there, it had me thinking over some of the past relationships that I've had. It had me thinking over some of my past friendship, and it had me thinking over the nature of the human person, how someone who once proposed that they want to love you suddenly turn into strangers, and all of this trait, all of this feature, all of these characteristics added more charm to the making of this book. So before I talk about this book, I'd love to read to you about the author. Eric Bruce Smith was born and raised in Oakland, California. Eric is from an area of the east side known as Brookfield Village. Although it is depicted as a pretty tough neighborhood, it is never short on producing very talented individuals. Eric is a poet, writer, and enjoys playing several instruments. He has poetry work published in the Oakland Public Library, found under Images and Voices of Gold Rush, edited by Joyce is Young. This is a collaborative work made possible by the Writers on Site program of Poet and Writers International 1998. He has participated in poetry reading at Expression Gallery in Berkeley, California, made possible by the Bay Area Writing Project. He is a proud father of 3 beautiful children. Eric is excited about sharing this body of work and very pleased with his poetry contribution to literature. Following that, I'd love to say that I praise the adeptness of the author at writing this book. I praise his professionality. I praise his skill at illustrating the theme of this book, because while I was reading to it, I was taken aback. As a poet, I love reading poems that are absolutely philosophical, and I love poems that I'll be able to deduct meaning while reading it. I so much love poems that I would read and it will add me thinking over after I've read it. And I love poems that are able to pull me in. I love poems that are able to leave me with questions in my heart. And that's one thing I've particularly love to say about poetry. That's the beauty of poetry, that I think that it acts in a major sort of grant. And while I read through Eric Bruce Smith, I don't know, I'm just so fascinated with his use of word. I'm fascinated with his knowledge, with his storytelling techniques, because the book is actually a compilation of poems and some short stories, which was why I considered the book, a compilation of prose poem. And it was just so amazing. The theme illustrated in it is so vast, it is extremely philosophical, it is deep towards the subject extolled in the book. So before I move into my review of this book is actually going to be a short video book recommendation of The Hidden Piece in Poem. I'd love to read to you the synopsis of the book. Some of the short story style of poetry displayed in the hidden piece of poem were derived from real people and real events. This style of writing formed a unique brand of fiction that is designed to sit close to the heart. The characters and plot may not be exact, but the ideas were fueled from real-life circumstances. For some, it may hit close to home, while with others, it may open doors. Nevertheless, this brand of poetry welcomes everyone to open their heart and step in closer. Let's find out together how to communicate creatively with our heart. And that's a trait that I particularly love about this book. And I think that's why it pulls me in. I think, in my perception, there's a wide difference between writing mere poetry that is based on imagination compared to writing poetry that is based on real life circumstances, writing poetry that is based on real life event. You are in an event and you're able to sit down and communicate all your art, bleed into the paper. And I think this kind of poetry that fall under this kind of category are always emotional. They're always philosophical. They always have the power to pull a reader in and have you thinking long after you've read it. I'm a philosophical writer. I love the theme of poetry that are very deep into the human existence. And I love poems that are able to, caught my attention. I love poems that are able to caught me absorbed and caught me enthralled and have me flipping through the pages until I finish reading through it. And that's what I experienced while I read through The Hidden Piece in Poem by Eric Bruce Smith. This book actually details the collection of wonderful poems, wonderful poetry that fall into the theme of human existence, that fall into the theme of philosophy, that fall into the theme of love, that fall into the theme of relationship, of marriages, and several other titles that is expounded in the book. It is relatable in certain aspects, and it is didactic in other aspects, and in some other aspects, it's expound on different themes ranging from longing, waiting, expectancy into the sort of emotion that follow is talking about the theme of perseverance, talking about the theme of endurance and the likes. And there are a lot of poems in this book that I think it is, extremely centered on the human condition. There are a lot of themes that are actually expounded in the book, which I might not be able to mention or capture in my review. But what I would love to say about the book is that the book is well versed into the human issue. It is well versed into the condition of the human psyche. It is well versed into the condition of the human nature. It is well versed into the human condition, the human nature, the struggles of human being, the pains of human being. And some of the things that I love about this book is the fact that it is written based on blank verses, whereby you don't have to make a line rhymes with another, but it acts as sort of a message, a cogent information to pass on in the book. We currently live in a kind of world whereby love is being misplaced for something else, whereby love is being changed with something else, whereby love is considered as a trade by barter, and most relationship, most love are built on falsity, on deceitfulness, on material possessions, and considering these things, considering the lies in the world today, considering the loss of trust, the lack of loyalty, considering the fact that there is no truth anywhere, lack of loyalty and peace. So hidden peace and poems, in my perception, come in as an observer, it come in as a savior, and it points out, it has a sort of a sight, like I wrote in my review, it has a sort of a sight that I consider it as an accommodation, a quality, to be able to see both far and near distance, to be able to see both far and near condition of the human issue, and put them together and start expounding on it one after the other. That's why I said that the author is actually very vast when it comes to this particular subject. He is very talented and knowledgeable in the theme that he has chosen to write about. And consider the fact that the book, as told in the synopsis section, is written based on some sort of real life experience. I think that's why it has some sort of raw emotion attached to it. I think that's why it's able to pull a reader in. I think that's why it's able to be so interesting. Like I said, I'm not so much a fan of love poetry, though this book can be considered as a love poetry, but there is much to it being a love poetry, because it actually talked about the theme of love, but it has a sort of an extensive feature. It has a sort of an extensive theme that are all taken together and inscribed in a single book of poem. It is very amazing. I haven't really explored the theme of love poetry other than the little poems of love that I've actually read, but so far the books or the poem that actually fall under the theme of love that I've ever read so far, this seems to be my number one. And if I'm to give a kind of a rating, I gave it a 5/5 star review because it is actually very deep. It is beyond what I can actually comprehend. It is beyond what I can actually say or profess or illustrate in this book review. All I would love to say is that the book has some sort of deep informations. The lines and stanzas are very, art-taking. They are very absorbing. They're able to have you mulling over long after you've read it. So I'll be making some recitation from page 14. That's from the title, Love Within, Love Without. So I actually underlined some line. I'm not reading from the beginning. I just underlined some line which I'm going to read in my review. I'm going to make into recitation. The first three is actually going to be on different poems ranging from Love Within, Love Without, and Wait for It, then another one titled The Ones. So then the other recitation will come afterwards. So love within boundaries may not be love. Love without peace may be artificial. Love built within lust is just not love at all. The quest for true love can be difficult because life just won't stand still. How quickly heart, mind, and spirit change. It is easy to see how love without sacrifice won't last. Love planted within boundaries won't last, and love that cannot be fortified will never last. So also, I'm going to be reading from Wait for It in page 19. This is actually a theme that I think it expounds on the theme of waiting, longing, and the author actually wrote it in a way whereby you can actually apply this poem to any aspect of your life or the reader's life, wherever they're actually waiting for one thing or the other. So I'm waiting for that thing to happen. In great anticipation, I linger long. It is going to happen. It just has to happen. My heart races when I think the time is near. I hate false alarm, but I don't give up. I can't give up. I won't let myself give up. So I wait and wait and wait for it to happen. Filled with anxiety and purpose, I continue to wait. It is going to happen soon. I've waited so long for this. My spirit fought through so much for this. So I wait and wait some more. I'm getting used to all this waiting, but it's going to pay off someday. So apart from this, I also have another one in the ones which actually ruled out love out there. It looks like love is not important anymore. Many have chosen alternative to love, if there is such a thing, whether married or not. Love has lost its spark in many relationships, which is very true, which is very, very true. It is all about self-gratification and special arrangement. Apart from this poem that I'm actually reading out, I actually just underlined some point and I was like, okay, I'm gonna read this out so that you can have an idea of what I'm talking about. But apart from this, there are lots of informations that are here, which I don't want to talk much about it because I don't want to make my review a spoiler review. Then there's another part in page 88 that I think it's so very deep into the human issue. That's why I said this book of poem is very vast. It is very vast. You can find different titles expound covered in the book, and you might have to keep thinking over and over again. The book actually, in my perception, seems to expound on the sort of the aftermath of human to human relationship, the human to human condition. Probably there's an offense somewhere, or there's a breakup somewhere, or the human psychology to some certain topic, most particularly into the theme of love. So here, feeling unneeded. I actually love this poem because most people out there actually feeling unneeded, and that's one thing I can say about this book. When I read through it, it is very reminiscent, it is very relatable, and some of the poems had me thinking about my past life. It had me thinking, quietly contemplative about the step that I've taken throughout my own life. And if you're not just the one that love to ask questions about the psychology of the human nature, you're gonna find absolute reality in this book. So I'm going to be reading some few lines in page 88, feeling unneeded. I'm not starting from the beginning, so I'm actually starting from stanza 5. Maybe I can help, or maybe I can't. Maybe you don't need me at all. I may not be what everyone needs. Someone may need me someday. Someone may need me someday. When the time comes, we all will see what we mean to each other. And this is actually true because based on the sort of relationship that exists between humans, I don't want to delve too much into this book because I actually love poetry, and if I should start expounding on the deep, the extensive interpretation of each poem, I might not have to finish this review today. So I'm actually gonna do it in a kind of a short way so I can give you a glimpse of what the book is actually talking about. I'm gonna read another one. I think gonna be the last one because I don't want to give it out too much. But the book is actually very vast. It is very deep, and there are a lot of topics that is talked about in the book that I will not be able to cover in this review because I attempt to make it a spoiler free. So unfortunately, everyone don't want to see other drowning in happiness, and this is actually very true. Most people don't love seeing you excited. Most people don't love seeing you happy. So it would be extraordinary to see people mindful enough not to step on folks' heart. The system we live in render cruel and heartless people, and it is very predominant. It's actually a deep reality. It is sad truth. The only way to combat this is to stay close to God. A stronghold is unbreakable, and no one can penetrate it, being fragile and wide. This seems to be one of my most admirable, and I would have actually loved to recite it in the introduction part, but I just love to bring in the love issue because the book is actually centered on the situation of the human being. It is intrinsically centered on the human condition, the human psychology, the problem with human, the relationship with human. So apart from all this, there are actually a lot of poems that I found very amazing in the book. Some of my most admirable poems within this collection are those titled Wait for It, The Ones, What About Forever, Feeling Unneeded, Tell Your Story, The Writers. I actually love the writers because I'm a writer, and some of the traits that we'll talk about in this particular poem had me resonate. I was like, wow, this author is so fantastic. So I also love Longing to Be Heard, Enduring Pain, Someone Exemplary, and several other sections that talk about prose, some short stories that were told, and as the author proceeds, it's based on real life events. All in all, Eric Bruce Smith's book, it's actually a fantastic book. I would so much love to recommend this book to lovers of poetry and wisdom. It has a blend of philosophy, it has a blend of wisdom, it has a blend of distinctive information that to my perception, when I was reading, I was like, wow, this is very deep, and something that actually comes, like I'm saying it over again, something that comes from the art, acts some sort of a great feature and qualities compared to something that just flow out merely. Because I'm a poet and I so much cherish and I so much love and embrace reading poetry that are very deep and that are able to pull me in. Honestly, I'm so much in love with The Eden Piece by Eric Bruce Smith, and I'm recommending this book to you if you're a lover of poetry. So, if you actually love to get a copy of this book, I left a link in the description part of this review for you to get a copy directly on Amazon. I don't want to talk too much about it in entirety. I just want to give you a short video book review so you can have an idea of what Eric Bruce Smith has had to tell in his poem, The Eden Piece in Poems. If you watch this video to this point and you're yet to click on the subscribe button, I want to urge you to please click on the subscribe button over there. Also consider turning on the notification bell so you can get notified anytime I release new videos. Thank you very much for watching my video book review of The Eden Piece in Poem by Eric Bruce Smith. It's actually wonderful and it's philosophical. It is absolutely amazing and I so much love it. I so much love it. And I can't wait to read more of Eric Brooks Smith's future works. And again, I can't wait to have him come on the show on English Literature and come and speak about his poem. So, thank you very much for watching my video book review. See you in my next video.